Senator Sherrod Brown and other Democrats breaking with their president on tariffs for solar panel products. Good afternoon. I'm Josh Krupp coming to you here live on Action News Now to break this down. U.S. Senate yesterday voted to restore tariffs and these fees on solar panels that are manufactured in Southeast Asia using Chinese parts. This is a big deal for Northwest Ohio, too. And we're going to bring in Senator Sherrod Brown to talk about this because he was among the group of senators that voted to go on the opposite side of where President Biden is going on this issue. Obviously, First Solar, a major employer and economic driver here in Northwest Ohio. President Biden had temporarily lifted these tariffs. He wanted to encourage more solar power adoption as part of his climate change plan. Republicans accuse the president of going soft on China. More notably, 9 Democrats, including Sherrod Brown, voted with Republicans here on this measure. The vote was 56-41. That is not enough, though, to override a potential presidential veto, which is expected. The president has said that he will veto this measure that has already passed the House. Republicans are trying to fight the president's climate agenda. On this front, though, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown says it is about Northwest Ohio's manufacturing sector. Put out a statement about this and why he was opposing the president on this yesterday. We wanted to chat with him more about this. We talked with Senator Sherrod Brown earlier this afternoon on Action News Now. Senator, you say the president is wrong to suspend tariffs on Chinese manufacturing of solar panels. Why?
The president's wrong, as presidents in the past of both parties have been wrong, and I don't really care what party they are when it comes to workers and when it comes to trade. And Marcy Kaptur and I have teamed up. One of the first things I ever did in Congress was to fight the North American Free Trade Agreement. Bill Clinton was wrong about that, and then to fight this giveaway to China that George Bush was wrong about. And it's I will always put American workers first, Ohio workers first. That's part of this. The other part of this is we're proud in Northwest Ohio to have the biggest solar manufacturer in all of North America. I want to see that plant grow. American workers know how to make solar panels. Chinese cheating and rollback of tariffs make that a whole lot harder. So we've got to get behind American companies and American workers, and that will make a huge difference in the job creation and in getting these solar panels out for American workers to install all over the country.
If the president does indeed veto this measure that you voted for yesterday, then what happens?
President vetoes, and I'm sorry if he does. We will try to override. It will be hard because, frankly, too many members. I mean, I look back at how this has worked. NAFTA, presidents of both parties have sold out American workers. Lobbyists for all these big companies, they're all looking for cheap labor. They want to move production to Mexico or to China, and it always undermines American workers. So I haven't changed at all in this. Marcy Kaptur hasn't changed. We'll continue to put American workers first, and regardless of who the president is on these trade policies.
The benefit that First Solar provides to this region is what?
Well, they have thousands of workers now. These are good paying jobs. They have lots of suppliers on glass and steel, and those suppliers come from all over. So the region, I can't give you a number, but the region, that First Solar, largest solar plant, I believe, still in North America, provides huge benefits to our economy and our part of the state. And I want Ohio to become, we're not the Rust Belt anymore. I want Ohio to become the center of solar manufacturing, the alternative energy state, and we can do it.
How does suspending tariffs hurt companies like First Solar then? Explain that to our viewers.
Suspending tariffs means that China can continue to cheat and continue to send their lower quality, cheaper to produce because their wages are so small, so much less in China. I mean, if there's a level playing field and you need tariffs to do that sometimes, we win every time. But if companies, I grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, and I grew up with a lot of sons and daughters of union production workers and trades. And plants started to leave to go to Alabama and Mississippi and Georgia. Then that wasn't cheap enough labor. Then they went to Mexico. Then they went to China. We've got to stop that, and these tariffs help us stop that.
Finally, while I have you, what's next on the debt ceiling? What do you personally trying to do to avoid defaulting on the country's debt. What are you looking for in these conversations with the president and leadership next week?
Yeah, the president surely should talk to Republican and Democratic leadership, but they've got to do their part, and their part is you raise, you pay our debts, you don't default, you do what we've done for the entire existence of our country. We've never defaulted. We're a country that pays its debts. And when the Speaker of the House went to Wall Street a couple of weeks ago and came back with his marching orders, his corporate wish list, and that's not the way to run the country. If we do what they want, Meals on Wheels will essentially disappear. We will lose lots of jobs. People will see their pensions shrink. There's no reason for that. Pay our debts, then let's negotiate. The president and the Speaker of the House and the leader of the Senate, let's negotiate real budgets and real appropriations.
U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown joining us here on Action News Now. And so back to solar here as we button this up. President Biden has again vowed to veto this legislation that is targeting tariffs on products that are manufactured in 4 southeastern countries with Chinese parts. The reason in the first place that this happened, that he waived these tariffs on and the 4 countries, by the way, Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam. He waived them for 2 years last June because solar project developers said it's going to increase their costs and potentially could even just stop their development. The president wants to see more solar. He wants that to be a big part of his renewable green energy plan. But domestic producers said that they cannot compete simply with the cheap products that are made overseas. So you see that push in Congress to oppose this effort now. We'll see how it ultimately does end up shaking out here if the president does veto that, if this does have an impact on the local economy. We are diving into clean energy tonight on Action News at 4:30. It will be our big story today. We will see you in about 2.5 hours. Tina Williams anchoring things on Action News at 4. For all of us here at 13 ABC, I'm Josh Krupp.